I'm Talma, Colleen Briegel. I was born north of Tyndall on April 8th, 1931. My grandmother told me it must have been an early spring because they could look out the bedroom window where I was born and see the rose in the garden. She reminded me of that almost every year on my birthday.
Well, were you delivered by a doctor? Or?
Yes. My grandmother came down around the date that I was due, I guess. And so they decided that today was the day, and Dad got in the car and went to Spickard and alerted the doctor. And the doctor came down and delivered me in what we called the little bedroom.
Oh my God. Okay, so do you remember the doctor's name? You said from Spickard, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
From Spickard. Dr. Ewing.
Oh, okay. Okay, because I've heard that name. I mean, maybe I've read it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, are you, do you have siblings?
No, I have no siblings.
You are an only child.
I'm an only child, and people say that only children are spoiled.
Uh-huh.
I was not spoiled. Really.
Uh-huh.
They put a close rein on me, and boy, if I did something wrong, I got it.
Yeah.
And if I was ever spoiled, it was after I was probably 16. And I figure they think, well, we haven't got it if we don't have it so far with her, why try now? Because they were more lenient with me when I was 16 than before.
Okay.
At least that's the way I feel.
Okay. Well, okay, so you grew up in Tyndall then?
On a farm.
Okay.
Just, I don't know whether we were a mile from Tyndall, something like that.
Okay. And was it a big farm?
It was 80 acres.
80 acres.
Mm-hmm.
And did your dad have cows or
We had milk cows and hogs, and that's about it. I don't think we ever tried sheep.
Okay. What in the way of crops did you guys do?
Pardon?
What in the way of crops did you guys do?
Oh, well, we had hay and corn and oats.
Okay.
And it seems like quite later he might have had some wheat, but I'm not sure about that.
Okay. Did you have to help at all with the farm?
No, not until I was old enough to milk.
Oh.
And I hated those milk cows and I hated to milk, but by the time I was in high school, I guess Dad was selling milk.
Okay.
To Central Farm Products in Trenton. And so I helped milk sometimes in the morning, but almost always at night.
Oh, wow.
And it was wonderful when we got a milking machine.
Okay. So you were milking by hand?
Right.
Oh, my.
Right.
Okay.
And trying to dodge the kicks of the cows. And
Yeah. Do you by chance remember kind of ballpark how many cows you were milking?
I think we had about 8.
Okay.
Dad, and I can't remember the years, but he had a terrible barn. It was just falling down, and so he had a tile barn built, and put in, I believe it was 8 stanchions.
Okay.
And so that's, and then there was a milk, what we called the milk room.
Okay.
And that's where he took care of the milk for the milk driver to pick it up.
Okay. Do you remember very much about growing up on a farm, like as a kid? Maybe what you did for fun?
Oh, I don't know. There was usually a dog around, and we usually had some kittens, and
Mm-hmm.
Started taking music lessons at 6,
Okay.
piano lessons. So I did a lot of piano, and my mother was so encouraging. She didn't know anything about a piano or any kind of music, and she didn't sing. But she would sit on the chair and listen to me play the piano and tell me how great it was.
Uh-huh.
You know, da, da,
Uh-huh.
da. So she was always very encouraging to me, but um, saw to it that I practiced. And
So, do you know at that age, did you want to take piano lessons, or was it something that
oh, I wanted to.
so it was initiated by you then?
Probably.
Okay.
I really can't say.
Yeah.
Maybe a little of both.
Okay. Do you remember who your piano teacher was?
I took my first 3 years in school. Wilma Ellis was the teacher, and she also gave piano lessons. So I took from her on summers.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't take year-round until I was probably 6th or 7th grade.
Okay.
I just took in the summer. And then there was a lady that, it might even be the house that you live in now. She taught out of the Conservatory of Music in Kansas City, and I took lessons from her. And the other teacher in town that I remember was Miss Bartlett.
Okay.
So it was during that time that Miss Bartlett really taught more than this lady did, probably.
Okay.
And then later there was a music teacher in Spickard named Porterfield, and he played beautiful music, improvised.
Uh-huh.
And he taught me how to improvise, and that was fun.
Uh-huh.
And he also taught me, to play the note, of course.
Uh-huh.
And so that was about my teaching.
So did you actually have a piano in the home then?
Yes.
Wow, that's great.
An old upright.
Oh yeah. Huh. So music became an interest really early on for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And Dad played the trumpet.
Okay.
And lots of times in the winter or in the summer, it would be a hot night, and he'd take his trumpet outside and sit on something and play. And I imagine all the neighbors maybe wished he wouldn't play anymore, but anyway. And then he sang in a choir with this Mr. Porterfield.
Oh, okay.
And so he and I sang a lot. And of course, I was singing soprano, and he was singing a very good bass.
Uh-huh.
And we did that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I remember reading, did you say your dad was a part of a gospel choir? Was that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you remember who else was in that? And if you don't, it's okay.
I would have to think about it. Frank Sibbett is one that comes to mind.
Okay.
And Willard Witten.
Okay.
And no, I can't think of any more right now.
Well, that's pretty good. You got several there, so yeah. Well, okay, so school for you, you went to school in Tyndall to begin
Yes.
with, elementary, okay.
Yes.
And now, who was your teacher again and while you were in Tyndall?
Wilma Ellis.
Okay,
She taught the first 4 grades,
okay.
and she was my first 3-grade teacher. Then she went on to someplace else.
Do you remember how many kids were in a class?
Oh, I don't know, maybe 3.
Okay. So this would have
And there were
been,
8 classes.
wow, maybe 3 in a class. Okay.
And before before I started school in first grade, there was a high school. I think it was 2 years high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember if that stopped before I started. I think it did. I don't think I ever went to school with those kids.
Okay. Okay.
But Dad rode rode a horse 6 miles every day, and he went to high school 6 months,
Oh, really?
and it was over there.
Oh, so in Tyndall.
Mhm.
Wow. Huh. So in Tyndall, when you were in school, what was your last grade that you
8.
8. So you went through 8th grade.
Hmm.
And then where did you end up going after 8th grade?
Came into Trenton,
Okay.
9th grade, where the college is now,
Okay.
and then moved out to Adams for the next 3 grades.
Okay. Okay. Do you remember, were you happy about all of a sudden getting sent over to Trenton to school, or was it an exciting thing to you, or?
Oh, it was just school.
Okay. So no real strong feelings either way.
I didn't enjoy the first year too much. I suppose it was because of the difference,
Uh-huh.
you know. But seems like maybe made more friends when we came out to Adams.
Okay. Okay. So how did you get from Tyndall to school in Trenton?
There was school bus,
Okay.
just kind of like a panel truck.
Okay.
It wasn't like the big school buses that we have now.
Okay. Do you want to tell about your dad's school bus?
Oh, Dad had, this was my first grade school in Tyndall. Dad built a school bus. He had a pickup, and he built a school bus on the back of that pickup, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he picked up people in the area over around South Evans and then on down to Trenton. And I think his last pickup was maybe out by the old Gables,
Mm-hmm.
someplace along there. So he had the first school bus. But I think it was the next year, or might have been 2 or 3 years, Verlin Meek bought a bus.
Okay.
So he had probably, I think he used to claim that he had the first school bus. He had the first boughten school bus, but he didn't have the first homemade school bus.
Okay. Okay. So your dad, it was just a regular truck that got or
Yeah, it was a pickup.
oh my gosh. So-
And he just built like a square, you know, in the back of the pickup, in the pickup. And I don't know, it probably held, I don't know, 10, 12,
oh really?
12, 14, something
Oh my
like that.
gosh.
And then sometimes there was a little aisle, and sometimes there was a stool, and somebody would sit out there on that stool, you know, that it would wiggle and wiggle, and so that's how those kids got to school. But boy, did they like that, because it was better than staying in a room in town,
Oh,
in somebody's house, going to school and going home on weekends.
yeah, boy, that's something that I never would have thought about, and that if you were having to travel 6, 7, 8 miles, whatever, that you might need to find a place to stay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember from, it could be any time really, but maybe some favorite teachers that you had, in junior high, high school, or do any teachers stand out, or do you remember any of them?
Oh, I remember my teachers, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my 8th grade teacher, I believe, Bonnie. Oh my goodness.
Well, yeah, I know I'm putting you on the spot, asking you to remember something from 80 years ago, so.
But anyway, what little English I have, she taught me. It took me 8 years to understand why you should say saw, seen,
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So I'm grateful to her for that, and she was young.
Okay.
And so, yes, I liked her very much. And then when I got to high school, I liked the classes. I'm not sure that she was a favorite teacher, but I was interested in the bookkeeping classes.
Okay.
And shorthand and typing, and did well in those because I liked them.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Mrs. Risser.
Oh, okay. The music
teacher.
Wow, you had Miss Risser then, or wow.
Yes.
Yeah, because I had her as a music teacher in elementary.
She was great.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder did you have her towards the beginning of her career, do you think, or?
Of her career?
Of her career, was she pretty young when?
Yes, she was. I don't think they had a child yet. I believe they did have one child.
Okay.
In their life, didn't they?
I don't remember.
Well, I don't think she had a child when I had her.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, okay, so high school, what year did you graduate from high school?
49.
Graduated in
49.
So you graduated right after World War II, then 4 or 5 years. Yeah. So I'm kind of curious because I asked Laura Sue Daniels the same question. Do you have any memories of that World War II era that really stand out for you?
Oh, yes. I was walking to school during that time in grade school, and I can remember that. I don't suppose I ever said it out loud, but I would be walking to school and things would come in my head, and I'd think, oh, what would I do if the war came to Tyndall?
Uh-huh.
What would I do? And so you never know what kids are thinking, because they don't come home and ask their parents. They think it's a silly question.
Yeah.
But I can remember that, and we had drives where if you had some kind of medal that you no longer needed, and I can remember I would be so happy when I'd be outside playing and I'd find a washer or a screw or something, that we could contribute to the war
Uh-huh.
effort, and of course buy the 10-cent stamps
Okay.
and collect those. And when you got 1875, you got a bond. You
Oh,
could
wow.
buy a bond.
Okay.
And that's probably, other than the day of Pearl Harbor, our family was having a dinner at our house. That was on Sunday. And my uncle was just the right age to go to service. And he walked the floor all day.
Oh,
He
wow.
knew what was coming. And he was soon, I guess he wasn't drafted because he was in the Air Force. And I think if you were in the Air Force, you had to volunteer. I think there was something about that anyway. If you didn't want to go to the Army, you had to volunteer to do something.
Okay.
And another thing I remember, my grandmother, his mother, wrote to him every day.
Oh, really?
Every day she wrote him a letter.
Oh, my gosh.
He was stationed in Florida and had orders to go out after furlough, and they decided to keep him. He was radio mechanic.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Well, it's interesting that, okay, so you would have been in your mid-teens, roughly World War II era. You would have been maybe 13, 14, 15, right through there during World War II. Is that correct?
Let's see, in World War II, it was 41 to 45.
Okay.
I was still in Tyndall.
Okay. So you're pretty young. Yeah.
So I would have been younger.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, that's pretty unbelievable that you were thinking about what if the war came to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We took the Saturday, or the Kansas City paper, and Dad read that paper from cover to cover. And I always wanted to do things like Dad did, I think.
Uh-huh.
And so I read a lot about the war.
Oh, did you really?
Yes, and would hear Mother and Dad talking about it.
Uh-huh.
Because I can remember reading that Kansas City paper, well, as soon as I could read much.
Yeah, and I think that it's unbelievable compared to World War II how distant we are from wars. I suppose that a lot of that is, and I say distant meaning it's not as much on our minds. It doesn't impact us the same way that maybe it would have impacted you all. There's no more draft. Most of us don't know somebody who's serving in the military, whereas in that case, it's everybody's brothers, uncles, so yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, okay, so what happened when you graduated from high school? What direction did your life go then?
Well, my last high school year, I took what was diversified occupations.
Okay.
And that summer before, I had my dad's cousin's husband worked at Central Farm Products, and he knew there was an opening for a secretary. I always wanted to be a secretary.
Uh-huh.
And so he was influential in getting me a job at Central Farm Products.
Okay.
And I took diversified occupation, and I worked of afternoons.
Okay.
So that meant I couldn't ride the school bus home at night because I'd work until 5. But there was a lady that lived up the road that drove, and so I rode home with her, paid to ride home with her every day.
Yeah.
And those were happy times because I was doing what I wanted to. I enjoyed being a secretary, and I kept books. And then when I graduated, I worked there full time.
Okay. Okay.
And I've forgotten the year, but minimum wage came in at 75 cents an hour. And I thought I don't know what I thought. I thought I was rich, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that was a long way from 35 cents an hour.
Yeah. Well, so when did Bob come into your life?
Well, of course, I knew it, just barely knew him in high school.
Okay.
And we might have dated a time or two in high school. I can't remember. And then once he started working for Hope Construction Company that worked on high lines, and he'd be home on weekends. And one weekend we happened to be at a dance, I guess it was, and so he asked me for a date for the next weekend, and that's when it started.
Okay, and we probably better, Bob Kincaid. We better say that so that
Yes,
people will know.
yes.
Yeah. So, how long did you two date before you got married?
Must have been about probably about a year and a half,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay. And did you get married here in Trenton?
We got married in my church, the Tyndall Christian Church.
Okay. Okay.
First wedding that was there, and the church was 50 years old the next month. I think I have that right.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and I think I remember reading you said it was Hunsaker was the person who officiated your wedding. Is that right?
My parents' wedding.
Oh, Hunsaker. Oh, okay.
O. Hunsaker.
Your parents. Okay.
That lived over by Gall.
Okay, and I know that name from
From
Mom.
the library.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and who officiated your wedding?
Kenneth. Oh my goodness.
We'll come back to it if you want. It's okay. We'll come back to it. It'll pop in. You know how it works.
Yeah,
It'll pop into your head. Well, okay. So when you got married, then I think is that when you left Trenton for?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He was in Hannibal.
Okay.
And so we lived in Hannibal from October until about the middle of January.
Mm-hmm.
January of 52.
Okay. Okay.
And then we were transferred to a little town in Iowa, and I've been trying for months to think of the name of that town, and it's never come to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he was injured that day.
Okay.
The one who ran the gang admitted that he had told him that morning that everything was cold, meaning the electricity had been turned off.
Mm-hmm.
What he should have said was, everything's cold up to the four corners.
Mm-hmm.
And Bob's job, one of his jobs, was to go up the pole and find out what that pole needed to be either taken down and or put up in order to put up the new lines. So he came to the Four Corners, and he went to the boss, and he said, okay, I'm up to here. Is it okay for me to start at this particular point? And he said yes. And then this man said, and when I heard the fry, I knew what I had done. And he lost his arm, his left arm, and the electricity came out where he was grounded on his knee, and so he was with a stiff knee all his life.
Yeah. So kind of this accident happened how many months after you were married?
October, November, December, January, about 3 months and a half.
So 3.5 months after you're married, he has this accident. And how long was he in the hospital?
Pardon?
How long was he in the hospital?
6 months.
6 months. Okay, so you had a very rough start.
Right. He was in the hospital at the University Hospital in Iowa.
Yeah. Well, so when he got out of the hospital, is that when you chose to come back to the Trenton area?
Right.
Okay.
We came back and rented we stayed with his parents maybe a month or so, and rented an apartment and were there until August of 53, I think.
Okay. So obviously you need money to survive. So what was the plan then?
He received $80 a month. Workman's compensation, I guess is what you call it.
Okay.
And we had one payment, a car payment, and that was $80. So obviously I had to get a job because being kids and not making much money. I think I had $300 in a savings account when we were married.
Oh, yeah.
That's how rich we were.
Yeah.
And he had the car. And so I did some things like selling cards, and at that time it was, you'd have somebody would have a party for you and invite women in.
Okay.
They'd buy their Christmas cards or
whatever,
and there were other little trinkets and stuff. So I did that, and we didn't know what we were going to do. He was still trying to deal with no arm and a stiff leg and not feeling well and always in pain. And so his grandmother had always been a cook in a restaurant. And the restaurant where she was called the Victory Cafe. And that lady wanted to lease her restaurant for 3 months with an option to buy. And obviously, neither one of us knew anything about food except we'd like to cook it and eat it. And she was sure that we would make a go of it, and so we entered into that, and just had good help, and it didn't end up being very profitable.
Mm-hmm.
But we were in there from, we finally bought it. We bought it after 3 months. She decided she didn't want to sell it,
Mm-hmm.
but we said, well, you said you would, so
Mm-hmm.
she did.
Mm-hmm.
So we bought it, and that was in 52,
Okay.
and we were in the restaurant until 57.
Okay. Okay, so
About 5 years.
about 5 years. So
More like 4, actually.
okay. Well, explain, where was the Victory Cafe located?
On Tinsman Avenue,
Okay.
right next to where Elks Club,
Oh, okay.
in that big brick building.
Okay. So are you talking about the brick building where the annex for the museum?
Right.
Is that? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And there were lots of little restaurants in Trenton at that time. I want to say there were about 20. Now, I may be stretching that a bit, but there just seemed to be a little restaurant every place in Trenton.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just one day went in, and it's ours, and we're doing what we can.
Well, what did you specialize in menu-wise, or did you? Like, what was typically on your menu?
Well, we had like cheeseburgers and hot dogs and stuff, but we really didn't sell very many sandwiches. Mostly what we sold were what they call plate lunch,
Oh, yeah?
and we always had a roast beef and or roast pork, and then like spaghetti and meatballs or something else, and that changed every day. But we always had the roast,
Okay.
and you got 2 side dishes like green beans and corn or something, or some kind of a salad,
Mm-hmm.
and coffee or tea went with it.
Okay. Do you remember what the price was of a plate lunch then?
I figured you were going to ask me that. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Might have been 60 cents.
Okay.
I can't say for sure. I know one summer we kind of run a special on Saturday, and we'd have a 49-cent special. That might be ham and beans and something that was not as expensive.
Okay.
But everybody kind of liked that 49-cent special.
I bet. Yeah. So you were open Monday through Saturday, is that?
Right.
And was it 8 a.m. until, or what kind of hours?
I expect it was more like 7.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because we had some breakfast trade,
Okay.
4 people go to work at 8. And then we'd close maybe 7 or something like that in the evening.
Oh, wow. So you were all 3 meals open.
Pardon?
You were open all 3 meals.
Yes.
Okay. Who was doing the cooking?
Granny Cyphers.
Oh, she was still...
She stayed with us all the time we were there.
Okay.
Oh, we probably wouldn't have made it without Granny Cyphers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Do you know by chance how long the Victory Cafe had been there prior to?
It was in a different place in Trenton, I think.
Okay.
I think where the dress shop is now.
Oh, where Howard's?
Howard's.
Okay.
Yes. I think it was in there for a while.
Okay.
And Miss Pettigrew had a restaurant for a long time when we bought it from her. and she may have had it some other place, and I might be wrong about that location.
Okay.
I don't know a lot about the history of it before we got into it.
Okay. Do you happen to remember your customer base? Was it pretty loyal? Did you have kind of the same
Yes.
people coming in all the time?
Yes, yes,
Uh-huh.
yes.
Any interesting customers that you remember?
Oh, there were so many. Nate Steen
Okay.
had a business, a clothier business.
Mm-hmm.
He was such a nice man. We all loved him.
Mm-hmm.
The fellow that worked across the street at the lumber yard, and I can't think of his name now. And John Sheets at Mattingly's, and oh goodness. Of course, I love people, so I probably loved all of them.
Yeah.
And there was a guy named Sarge. He was a sergeant in the Army, so I was told. And he ate all 3 meals there.
Oh, wow.
But I had no idea what his name was. I guess I probably never did know.
Yeah.
Just all called him Sarge.
Wow. So I'm just thinking about, did you work all 6 days and that roughly 12-hour shift each day?
I didn't go to work that early. I went later. And then, let's see, I think in about 2 or 3 years, 2 years, something, I started working at the telephone company.
Okay.
And so I didn't work there a lot except typing up menus and doing the bookwork and on days off. I guess that was quite a bit, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, during that era, so mid 50s era, what do you remember being some of the more popular businesses in the downtown area? Are there any that stand out to you that you remember especially enjoying?
Kresge's. Chris.
Oh, okay.
Chris. Fair Drug. Mattingly's. Steen's.
Mm-hmm.
The dress shops. There were, I think, 3 ladies' dress shops.
Okay. And were they all in where Howard's is at, or where were the dress shops then?
One of the dress shops was in the block where Clevenger is now.
Oh, okay.
And then across from that, Jenny Hoover had a toggery shop, probably where KTTN is now.
Okay.
She always had cute kids' clothes. And there were about 3 shops. Across from Steen's.
Okay.
Right in that area.
Okay. Yeah.
And J.C. Penney's.
Oh, J.C. Penney's was there that early, huh?
Yes.
I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and so the J.C. Penney's building is actually where Howard's is. Is that correct? I get a little.
It was back north of where Howard's is now. Oh.
And
I think it was right next to Mattingly's.
okay, so
I think it was.
So right along that row, kind of back, north of Howard's was J.C. Penney's, Mattingly's, and then Cress was across the street.
Right.
Okay, yeah, because a lot of people will remember that, but there are going to be a lot that don't know. Yeah.
And if you went between the street between Cress and Mattingly's and went straight east, you'd run right into Victory Bay.
Okay. Yeah. Do you remember the downtown area being busy?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Especially on Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what, in talking to Laura Sue, she remembered it being bad, real busy, and then also Saturday being when the people from farms came to
Yes.
town.
Yes.
Yeah,
And they'd come and stay all day.
yeah,
A lot of them.
yeah.
When I was a child, I went to my grandparents. Briegel took me with them every day, every Saturday.
What did you do when you came?
We just stood on the street and talked to our friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we ate lunch.
Do you remember where you went for lunch?
Pardon?
Do you remember where you went for lunch?
My grandmother and I ate at Snappy's.
Oh, really? Okay, explain, what was Snappy's?
What was Snappy's?
Uh-huh.
It was a beer joint.
Uh-huh.
And I suppose my grandmother knew it was a beer joint. I mean, that's what it was called then, you know. They called them beer joints.
Uh-huh.
And I've always wondered, why did she take me to a beer joint? Because nobody in our family ever drank beer or anything.
Uh-huh.
And that's just always puzzled me. And I always wanted a hamburger,
Uh-huh.
being about 4 or 5 years old.
Hanging out in Snappy's.
And and they, I don't know if they had a hot beef or something,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that she felt like people will think, oh, I'm eating a more costly things than she is, and I shouldn't be giving her a hamburger, you know.
Oh, okay.
Now, I don't know if that's the way she felt or not, but she'd always try to get me to eat something beside a hamburger. No, I had a hamburger. We didn't have hamburgers at home, not on a bun.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's pretty. Now, and Snappy's, explain, what was the location of Snappy's?
It was behind Montgomery Ward, and I didn't mention Montgomery Ward a while ago.
Montgomery Ward's, now, didn't that eventually, or did it become Donahoe's Furniture?
Yes.
Okay. And so that's like right at 5 Points. I'm trying to explain for people that are watching this that maybe don't know, but right at 5 Points where the park is now at, it would have been right across sideways was Montgomery Ward's, and then behind it, down that kind of steep hill,
Right.
Snappy's. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a pretty good story, eating at Snappy's when you're, I guess they weren't checking your ID.
No.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. Well, okay, so you left the Victory Cafe eventually, and what you did next is something that I remember very strongly. So what did you move along to after the Victory Cafe?
Well, I guess Bob thought that Trenton needed a drive-in.
Mm-hmm.
And he was giving lots of thought to that. At that point, there was one place where people really liked that big tenderloin across from the high school, John's.
Oh, huh.
And so he wanted to specialize in tenderloins, but not the big ones that are real thin meat and lots of breading.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can still get those kind of tenderloins.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted a tenderloin that had meat in it
Mm-hmm.
and a lighter breading
Mm-hmm.
and still French fried.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a good listener, and he more or less surrounded himself by working people as well as business people, and picked up lots of ideas
Mm-hmm.
just by listening.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had this in his mind, And as I said, the victory was not too profitable. So we sold the victory, and there was a place out on 9th Street that just sat right on the street, just a little small building, and a couple of fellows from Kirksville owned it, and they ran a business, but you had to walk up to the window to get it. There was nobody. There was just one person in there, and they were in some kind of creamery business at Kirksville, and so they had soft ice cream.
Okay.
And I guess they didn't realize that it'd take an awful lot of people walking and buying a nickel ice cream cone to pay for a business. Because I think they may have sold a hot dog, but that would have been the only sandwich.
Uh-huh.
So that came up for sale, and they were easy to work with, and I think they were wanting to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind, we didn't have any money.
Mm-hmm.
I did have a job, and so he worked all this out in his mind, and we went to Kansas City to the Dugan Equipment Company, and we bought everything we needed for that drive-in.
Wow.
All the equipment that we needed. Ice cream machine, grill, French fryers, that sort of thing. And Dugan was such a nice man. And I wonder why and how, why he did such a thing, but he just let us take all those things, and we hardly paid anything down.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
And as far as I know, no collateral of any kind. We didn't own anything.
Uh-huh.
And, well, we did too. We had a house, but, we had payments. And Bob was very adamant about when we close at 11 or 12, whatever we close out, that he took everybody home because all our employees were kids.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't want any kids running around the dark in Trenton at night. So he even interviewed some of the parents to let them know that their child would be brought home. Not at 6 o'clock. If they got off during light days, the daylight, they got home by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was painted white. I used to kid Bob and tell him that if it wasn't white, it wasn't right. I had quite a time getting him to paint the house any color, the house where we were living, any color except white.
Mm-hmm.
And the front room of that building had glass on 3 sides, so people could see what you were doing all the time.
Uh-huh.
So he always wore white pants, white shirt, white apron.
Okay.
And the car hops always wore black and white blouse.
Okay.
And not until later years we realized that part of the success of the building, of the business, was people enjoying watching a one-armed man cook their food.
Oh my gosh.
And get it out to them, because hardly ever, when anybody still, as many years as it's been, they'll say, "Oh, I remember the Lazy K." they had those good tenderloins, and it was fun to sit in the car and watch Bob cook.
Oh, yeah.
They always talk about the tenderloins and watching Bob cook.
Huh. Well, how many years did you have the Lazy K?
From 57 was the first year we opened, and we opened probably in April or May. And we sold it in 75,
Yeah.
in about the same year, or same
Mm-hmm.
month.
Yeah. So long-standing restaurant in
Right.
town. I think, anybody who was in Trenton at that time probably ate a lot of meals from the Lazy K.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
The community was very good to us.
yeah.
They were very good to us.
Well, and from what I know, you were very good to the people who worked for you, because you've told me before how if your workers stayed with you for a season, there was some sort of a deal. Can you explain what that was?
If they were working for us when we closed,
Mm-hmm.
meaning the season, closed for the season, like in October,
Okay.
we went to Bell's Cafe the next week. We all met at Bell's Cafe, and we treated them to a meal, and they got a bonus check. And they got a bonus of $0.05 an hour for the time they had worked for us that season.
Yeah, that is amazing. And yeah, so that was for people who stayed the entire season, who didn't.
They didn't have to stay the entire season. I mean, we might have hired them in July,
Okay.
and they still got a bonus.
Oh, okay. Okay.
See, so those who were with us at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But if they started with us, they got the bonus for the full season.
Okay.
But I kept a record of how many hours they worked each week, every paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so at the end of the end of the season, the next week, I was pretty busy adding up hours and figuring out bonuses and writing the checks.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to think. So just to be clear, the deal that you were talking about earlier is if any of the workers got off basically after dark, you made sure they got home.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's not something that is done. I'm sure there were many, many parents in the area that appreciated that.
Yes. Well, the child might have been as young as 12.
Okay. And so you guys would actually take them home at times.
Pardon?
You guys actually took them home after work, right? At times, yeah. Yeah, that doesn't happen anymore.
Now, if they had a note, of course, some of them were dating.
Uh-huh.
They weren't all 12 years old, but we had people as young as 12. The only way anybody else could take them home was a note from their parents. It might be the boyfriend, or it might have been an aunt or an uncle or whatever. But they had to have a note signed from their parents.
Well, I don't even know if this is going to be possible, but in the years that you have the Lazy K, could you even guess how many different kids in the community that you employed there?
No, I wouldn't have any idea. We would have a turnover in a season. We would probably employ us in the 30s,
Oh, wow, in one season.
in 30-some people.
Uh-huh.
Now, that wouldn't all be working at the same time, of course.
Yeah. So there, I mean, there were a lot of people a lot of kids going through high school
Right,
during that era that worked at the Lazy K.
right, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We even employed some kids that were in the gifted class. We had some that were successful and could do, but I remember this one girl, she was such a sweet person, and they'd take the order from the car, and then we'll say they had 2 drinks. And if they had a couple of 10-cent root beers, she could pay the 20 cents at the window, paying for the meal or the drinks. But if they would give her $1 to pay for that 20 cents, she was unable to get the correct change back. And she was always ending up, not having enough money because she couldn't do that. And we had to let her go because of that. And that just sticks in my head. I think that she was such a nice person, and hopefully she was successful in some other occupation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we had some that stayed with us, year after year, that were okay. We had our menu was painted on the side of the building, and you need to listen to your customers. And so we finally, I don't know, we've been in business probably 10 years, and well, people are asking for grilled cheese sandwiches, and we don't have grilled cheese. Well, maybe we ought to have, So, So I haven't told you this before.
I don't think so.
So on our board, there's hamburger, cheeseburger, tenderloin, all of that, all those that we sold. And then there's a space. And then, I don't know, maybe drinks were there or something. I don't know what it was. But anyway, there was space under the sandwiches. So we said, well, we could write that in there and we wouldn't have to do the whole thing over again, And so at the same time, people kept asking for lettuce and tomato, and we didn't have that. So we said, okay, we'll put that lettuce and tomato on there too. Well, we probably ought to charge for that, so we put 5 cents extra. So right there in that little spot, we put grilled cheese, I don't know, 30 cents. Lettuce and tomato, 5 cents extra. So we didn't have very much grilled cheese, But when somebody'd order grilled cheese, they'd say they wanted mayonnaise, lettuce, and tomato. So this would go on, and we'd all kind of look at each other and we'd say, well, that's funny. I never put lettuce and tomato on mine, do you? And they'd say, no. So this went on, and finally, it maybe been years later, I said to Bob, do you know why that happened? And he said, no. And I said, grilled cheese, lettuce and tomato, 5 cents extra. But we meant it for all of the sandwiches because it was the last. And so
that's
Isn't that funny?
That is funny. You were a sandwich creator at that point. It became your signature sandwich. Yeah. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. And another thing, these Ramses that are coming to church from Leisure Lake,
Okay.
I introduced myself to them, and I said, "Are you the Ramses that had the restaurant?" "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I was in the restaurant business too." "You were?" I said, "Yeah, my husband and I run the Lazy K." And he said, "Oh my gosh, you did?" And I said, "Yeah." And now think of our age here. I'm 90 and he's probably in his 70s.
Okay.
And he said, "Oh, that was the place to be."
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I haven't heard somebody say that for a long time, but I thought that was kind of funny.
That had to feel really good.
Yeah, I did.
I bet it felt really good. Yeah. Well, I know that one of the things you wanted to be sure and mention was the difficulty that Bob had because he had lost his arm. During that era, during that time, the thoughts and the feelings about people who had a disability or, yeah. Yeah. So do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, sort of putting things in perspective that we've been talking about. You have to remember this was in the 50s. When somebody lost a leg, lost an arm, whatever their disability was, people were sorry. They'd say, "Oh, gee, that's too bad. I'm sorry for him or her," and that was it. If you were trying to get a job, no, we don't have any job for a one-armed person. No, I'm sorry, we're not hiring now. And this just happened every place you went. If you were ambitious, you had to make your own business. You had to start a business. You had to do something.
Mm-hmm.
But you were alone. You had to do it. The problem was there, and you had to do something to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose that's the reason with it that we got into business, because neither of us were trained for business. I could keep the books,
Yeah.
but that's all I could do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's a good thing you enjoyed those secretarial classes in high school because you ended up really using all that stuff.
Oh yeah, I set up the bookkeeping system, and
Yeah.
which was no big deal, but you had to do something.
Yeah. Well, and I, what you were saying, I just can't imagine how stressful that had to feel and how scary that had to feel to know that you were going to have to create your own thing.
Right.
And that it ended up being the restaurant business. That's, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
and I never, ever wanted to be a waitress. Never. I don't know why, but possibly because I didn't know anything about it.
Mm.
But I didn't know anything about bookkeeping and shorthand either.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I just wanted to thank you very much for, sharing all of this all of this history with us and your story, a portion of your story. We'll have to come back and shoot the next 50 years or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I did want to ask you if there was anything that you would like to share right now to kind of end your video, maybe something that has been important to you in life or something that, value or something that you would like to share.
Well, that's a very hard question. Of course, the big important thing in my life is my family. And I don't know what I'd do without my family, but if I never had one, I guess I wouldn't know what I was missing. And I know lots of loving people. I have lots of good friends who are good Christian people. And I just wish that people realized how important love is. And that you're going to feel so much better when you love somebody than when you're angry with them.
Yeah. I think that is a beautiful lesson. It probably would fix most of our problems, if not all of them,
Right.
So, but thank you very, very much. And I will see you soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.